Hi, thanks for watching. I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ganny, and in this video I will be sharing our gift guide for 2025. So if you're looking for inspiration to gift a loved one, or maybe you want to add something to your own Christmas list, I have got so many lovely ideas for you. From smaller stocking fillers and little tools that will make your dressmaking and sewing hobby that little bit more convenient and fun, to those extra special items that you will just love once you actually start using them. So you're going to be hearing from me and the team in this video, where we pick out our top things from what we sell in the shop to inspire you for the festive season. So we have made a blog post that goes along with this video, and in there you'll be able to find links to everything that we mentioned. So that is definitely the quickest way to find something in the online shop if it is catching your eye. But if you need any help or you've got any questions at all, you can leave a comment on the video, but the quickest way to get an answer is always to email us or give the shop a call. So I'll put the contact details in the description below as well. So you can see that I am standing in front of our gorgeous festive window display in the shop here. We have definitely kicked off the festive season at G&G, and we will have late night shopping every Thursday in the run up to Christmas now. So we'll be open until 8 o'clock. So if you do find it hard to get to us during the day or at the weekend, then you've got those few extra shopping hours. Normally we close at 5, but yet we will be open until 8 every Thursday in the run up till Christmas. If any of the outfits are catching your eye in the display behind me, then you can check out my window video and blog post as well, where all of the details of the fabric and pattern combinations used are all grouped together. So if you're feeling inspired by any of those outfits, then do check that out as well. So before I pass you over to the other members of the G&G team, I wanted to share with you some of the Prim range of haberdashery that we sell. I have been stocking the Prim stuff in the shop for years now, basically pretty much since we opened, and I love Prim as a brand. Everything is always really good quality, and they're always inventing new different tools and accessories that you didn't even know you needed until you found out about them. So I'm going to be showing you the creative tools, and then also some of the more sort of smaller habby accessories that are really useful for sewing and dressmaking too. So I would say the star of the show really is the Vario creative tool, which has been out for a while now, but they have brought out this really fun new colours, this gorgeous sort of sagey green. And this is the top-notch tool that you need to be applying any of the fastenings or closures or buttons from the Prim range onto it. So it is compatible with the jeans buttons, so obviously good if you're making jeans, or if you're making a jacket that's got buttons down it as well, really good for that. It's good for the rivets too, so it's compatible with all of these things. The anorak snaps, I use them a lot. They're really good for jackets as well. And then there's lots of press studs, so there's ones that are good for jersey, good if you like sewing kids clothes. It's got little poppers and stuff. And then we do have a range of loads of the little multicoloured plastic ones as well, which come in fun shapes too, so you get stars and circles, all different colours too. So you can use the creative tool with all of those things. You can also get a clamp that comes with it as well, which just helps to sort of steady it onto the surface that you're working on. The clamp isn't essential, you can use it without it, but it's a nice little accessory too. And then there is also the storage bag as well, which has now come out to fit the creative tool and all of the bits and pieces that go with it. So it's really good. Inside there are lots of little pockets that you can sort of reposition and adjust and customize to make it fit the different accessories that you've got. It's also got a nice zip section here and another little pocket, so lots of little nooks and crannies for filling out with all of your little accessories. So if the creative tool is maybe a bit much, or you're maybe just looking to sort of try out some of these things without committing to the creative tool, we do also have the Vario pliers as well, which have been out for much longer. I have been using these for years. They are brilliant. They come in a few fun colours as well. So we've got the pink and the turquoise, which are the sort of more classic colours, and then they have brought out a fun new colour as well, which is that more sort of sagey green colour, which matches the the creative tool. So you would need one or the other. You wouldn't need both of these. And again, those pliers are compatible with all of those different tools and fastenings that I showed you before. And I do have, it is quite old now, but still totally relevant, a guide on how to use all of them with the Vario pliers and the creative tool as well. So you can check that out as well if you want to see how these tools work in action. And then for the pliers, it also has a little case that you can get to come with it as well, which is an extra little add-on. So it's got a section to put your pliers in, and then all of those little pockets and zips and things for adding all of your extra stuff in. Then to just brighten up your sewing toolkit, there are quite a few other bits and pieces in the Prim range that are just useful to have and just a nice fun little accessory. So this one, I love this one. It's so fun. We use these in the studio where we teach all the sewing classes. It's a little needle twister and it's for storing your needles, and it basically works a bit like a lipstick. So you twist the bottom and then the needles sort of pop up, and it's really easy to pick them on and off. There's a magnet at the bottom which holds them all in place. So that is a really fun one. I have that in my own sewing toolkit as well. And then we've also got the corner edge shapers. This is fantastic for getting nice crisp corners or just pushing out any seams before you press them, just to make sure you're getting the full correct shape of the bit that you're sewing. So good for collars and that sort of thing. And then in the fabric marking area, there's a couple of different options. Both are good for different reasons. So the cartridge pencils are really good for doing more sort of precise little marks because it's got a fine tip. They basically work like a regular cartridge pencil, but it's fabric chalk that's in it instead, so you can get refills for them too. So the pink one does come with pink chalk inside, and then the turquoise one comes with white chalk inside, but you can get the refills in various colours, and then any colour is compatible with the pencil, so you can make it sort of match whatever colour of chalk you actually like to use. And then the little chalk wheel is also really good as well. So this is like a little wheel that dispenses the chalk, and it gives a really nice sharp line. So if you've got to mark something that's got lots of lines on it, my classic example would be if you're making bias binding and you want to draw out all of those bias strips onto your fabric. It's really good because it doesn't blunt, and it just dispenses the chalk really sharply and quickly and evenly. So it's really good for things like that. And then the final item from the Prim range is this very handy lint shaver, which will give jumpers, cardigans a new lease of life. It's very satisfying to use, and one of those items that's probably not the most exciting thing, but very practical. And sometimes the most practical presents are the most appreciated ones in the months to come. So yeah, a good one to keep on the radar as well. So I'm going to pass you over to the G&G team now, who are going to be chatting and sharing with you some of their top picks from our gift guide for this year. And I hope it inspires you, and maybe you will discover a new tool or item that you hadn't known about before.
Hi everyone, Belle here.
Hi, I'm Lorna.
This week I am wearing my brand new Drew sweater. This is my first stretch project in the Snuggly sweatshirt in clay, perfectly matching ribbon. We don't have any of the clay left, but we do have lots of lovely colours, and you can colour block this pattern.
And then I am wearing the Friday Pattern Company Adrienne blouse in our wine stretch velour fabric. Perfect for the party season.
Ready for the party season. So Lauren has talked you through some nice big spend presents. So there's super special dressmaking gifts for that special someone, maybe for yourself. We've picked out some stocking fillers that range from labels to pins to clips to some lovely pattern trace items. So we're going to talk you through those now.
Well, I thought let's start with the labels, because everyone loves a sewing label, and these really are the perfect stocking filler for sewing enthusiasts. We have a range. We've got a couple of lovely brands. So Belle's just showing the Little Rosy Cheeks labels. So we've got some me-made ones and handmade ones. They just add that real extra handmade touch to your garments. You can put them in a variety of different places, so on show or just for yourself. We've also got the G&G labels. So we've got the Bauhaus ones and the Goddess collection ones. So you get like a few different choices in the packets. The Bauhaus one, you've got 8 labels, 2 different designs, and the Goddess collection, again, 8 labels in 4 different designs.
But I've only just started my dressmaking journey, so my label collection is very small, and I'm always very like envious of how big people's labels collections are. So it's always nice to kind of spot different colours and have different ones for different projects.
Definitely, that one would look really good with that one, but you've already got another one
Already got a big
haven't
one in
you?
there.
But yeah, cute.
And to organise your labels, Jess here is a big fan of these little Rosy Cheeks label organisers. She did tell me earlier that she's got to buy another refillable pack to add more labels to.
Such a good idea. I can never find my labels, so I could really do with this as well.
Mine are in a little tin at the moment, so hopefully I'll graduate to something like this. So yeah, it's a zip up and it's got the cutest little flower detail on it. But yeah, it's essentially like a flexible ring binder that you can pop in your sewing room, where you get refills to keep them in order. Like I said, you can get additional ones.
You can just go on your shelf along with your books and patterns and stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, these are really sweet.
And then this, I've never seen this before, so this is a new to me. And I think when you put your labels in, it can be really difficult to get it straight and in the right position. So this is a little Rosy Cheek label placement ruler. So a really handy little gauge to help you put your sewing labels on straight. How cute is that?
Much better than me just eyeball. That looks good. Pop that
Yeah,
there.
no, this is really,
Get it
really
accurate.
good. It makes it super easy to sew a label on straight.
Beautiful.
So I absolutely love the Prim Love range. They actually just make the most gorgeous presents because of the vibrant colours, and they're just really quirky little tools for sewing. We've got some magnetic pin dishes here. This one actually comes with some glass-headed pins, which are really, really good. And then this one doesn't come with any pins, but a really cute heart-shaped polka dot design. So they are brilliant, especially if you drop your pins, you can just wave your magnet
yesterday.
all over the floor or your sewing table, and it just whips up all the pins. So they're really good. We've also got your magnetic, what's it called? The arm pin cushion. So this is one of the snap band things that you put around your wrist. You see lots of people on the sewing bee using these, don't you?
Yeah.
Really handy just to keep your pins wherever you are sewing. So again, gorgeous colours.
And I'm a big fan of this one.
Oh, well, it is a cat, Belle. So do you want to write to Father Christmas to ask for this?
Definitely.
Maybe. Okay. So this is a pin magnet that you can actually put on your sewing machine. So it's got one of those like plastic sucker things, so you could actually put it on your machine. So for any cat lovers in your lives. And then a fabulous independent local business, Jen at Needlework on Thursday. We've got some of her magnetic needle minders, and they are from like iconic Birmingham buildings. So we've got the library, and we've got the Cadbury, is it called the Cadbury Centre or the Cadbury building?
It's the factory.
The Cadbury factory, there we go.
Not a Brummie.
No, I'm not actually. So there we go, really, really cute. So for any Brum-based sewists, they just make a really thoughtful, really useful gift. So they're magnetic, so you can just pop them near your sewing station and actually put a needle on it.
Yeah.
Is that how you
I've
use
got
them?
mine on my lamp that's over my sewing machine, so when I forget my pin magnet when I'm at my sewing machine, I've got my little one just on my line, and I can keep my pins safe on that.
Amazing. And then, well, pins are great, but we are massive fans of fabric clips here at G&G.
Big clip fan.
They're great for if you've got children or pets in the house, so that if you drop them, which inevitably they do end up on the floor, they're not as lethal as treading on a pin, and they're quite easy to spot when you drop them. But they are just really good. They're just very durable. These ones come in a really handy heart-shaped plastic storage tin. So you get 40 fabric clips in there. So really good, especially if you're sewing like thick layers.
Yeah.
So you can just open up the clip and it really just holds everything in place. Really good for quilting as well. So that's the Prim Love fabric clips, and then here you've got a few regular size ones, and you've also got some jumbo ones, which especially if you're sewing with like quite a lot of our like teddy fleeces, things like that, they would be perfect just to open up really wide and just keep everything together, because pins would just be way too fiddly and just get lost.
I'm a big clip fan.
Anything with thick pile, they would be really, really good.
So thank you, Lorna. I'm going to talk you through our Pattern Trace collection. So if you didn't know, Pattern Trace is our sister brand, and it's different tools and notions and things to not only organise your sewing space, but maybe inspire your next project, archive your next project. So it's a good all-rounder if you've got someone that you know that loves to make and create these. There's something in here for kind of every kind of maker. I don't know where to start, it's all so good. I'm going to start with the spool pod. So the spool pod is a silicone tray that will allow you not only to store your spools, but also your matching bobbins, so you can keep it all safe.
Such a good idea.
So good, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they stack nice and neatly in a drawer. We also have storage boxes, but yeah, the spool pods are great. Next up, we have our eco highlighters. So you'll pick up in this range of gifts that I'm showing you that they're all eco-sustainable, all friendly to the planet. So that's the same with the eco highlighters. So think of a highlighter that you would use, a plastic ink one that you would use on your patterns, but instead they are pencils. So they're made from wood, so they're a little bit kinder to the planet. They're a lovely chunky handle size.
So good.
So you can use those to trace your pattern size instead of any plastic felts. So next up, let's go back to kind of needle minding. So rather than having your pins and needles on the magnet, we've got our needle store. So you'll see that it comes with some nice little stickers. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to choose how you want to store and keep your needles separated. You can do that all yourself and however you want to do it with your stickers. And then my favourite bit is these little fuzzy dots in here. So with these, it means that ones that are used, or when you're swapping your needles out, you can pop them in the fuzzy dot so you can know exactly which ones have been used.
Yeah, I've got one at home. Yeah, absolutely love it.
And we have our garment planner. So this is a great stocking filler for a dressmaker's shopping list, essentially. In here you've got your measurements, so you can keep track of what measurements you've used for that project. Your fabric details, have you lengthened it, so all the essential making details, as well as your notions and your haberdashery. You've got a tick list down here, so it's almost like you keep
it's like it's a shopping list, isn't it? Like, this would be really good for people to do at home before they came shopping, because once you come fabric shopping, it can be really overwhelming, can't it? So just if you know what you're going to make, it's great to be able to, you know, so you don't forget anything, because there's nothing worse than getting home and thinking, oh, I've forgotten to get the matching thread or the zip or anything. So
and
just
you can't
to
start your project,
plan your project. Take your measurements.
Absolutely.
Really, really good.
So Lauren is a huge fan of these. Her pattern archive collection is very impressive. So essentially, you've done your project, you've completed it, you want to store it away nice and neatly so you can pick it up and make it again whenever you're ready to. These pattern envelopes are for that, so they keep your pattern safe. They've got all the essential details on the front. But another thing, again, taking a leaf out of Lauren's book, is with her garment planner, once she's got the different fabric details and measurements and everything on there and haberdashery notions, you tear it off and you pop it in there with your pattern, and then you've got it all there ready to go. So you buy one of these and then you get 10, coming back 10. So the next two things that I want to show you, I'm quite proud of these, and it's a little boast moment. So along with Lauren and the team, we redesigned these. So when these arrived and we were able to send them out into the world for people to buy, it was something that us and the team had kind of all designed and put together. So
absolutely,
with pride, we show you these. So this is the fabric stash book. So you may have heard of, we have fabric ID tape and all different ways that you can store and look after your stash of fabric, because we all have a stash. We've all got a stash. So my fabric stash, so it's a really nice hardcover ring binder, really nice cute size as well to pop on your shelf. So
nice.
it starts with a glossary of fabric and fibres, and it comes with note cards for you to be able to make a note and keep a track of all of the fabrics in your stash. There's no shame here.
Yeah.
There's no shame here. Maybe 2026 is the year for you or your dressmaking friend to get organised.
Definitely.
So it comes down to fibre content, purchase price if you wanted to know how much you'd spent on it, width, weight, length, and then you've got project notes here for pre and post projects. So each card is designed for your swatch to go in there, and they're on like opposite sides so it doesn't get all clunky, it stays nice and neat and organised.
Yeah.
And then you can organise it by different types of fabrics, whether it's by colours, by knits, by stretch, whatever you think. And then one of the best things about it is these stickers. So these stickers, if you're unsure how you were going to organise it or where to even start, these stickers will help you with that. So we've got, again, from inspiration makes, whether you're going to make it for a summer skirt, a kid's make, for a gift, or it's woven, stretch, casuals, all your stickers help and they perfectly fit on each one of these tabs in there.
That's amazing. That has definitely inspired me to, my stash is not that big actually, but it's not very well organised.
I've got a modest stash.
I do forget what I've got, so I think to actually take a little bit of time, you know, maybe in the new year to get a bit more organised, I think I'd definitely highlight some gaps.
And I think the new year is the perfect time to start.
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely. Yeah, that's really cute. And designed by sewists for sewists. That's the thing about it,
Exactly,
isn't it? So
yeah.
the G&G team have really thought about like what we would like as sewists.
We all took it away, did our homework, then fed back. So yeah, and we did the same with the sewing workbook. So the sewing workbook, again, I'm super proud of this one, and I love my sewing workbook. I'll take you through some of the pages on mine shortly. But it starts with...
You're so good with this kind of stuff, Belle. Mine is, I like started mine and then, so you're very inspiring.
It's a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a healthy or unhealthy obsession.
Well, no, I think it's very
obsessed.
Inspirational. No, I love it, love
Thank
it.
you. So it starts with wish lists, because we've got wish lists for every single part of our life. I think Pinterest is like a big influence on that, things we see on Instagram. So these ideas as dressmakers, I'm sure they fly in and out of our brains, don't they? So we've got, it starts with, our wish list section. So it gives you a chance to note down patterns that you've seen, where you saw them, how much they were, so you can budget for your next project. But all your inspiration is kind of noted down here. And then following on from that, obviously there is the fabric section. You've seen a fabric and you want to buy the fabric, but you're not quite sure what to make. I try to, and if anybody's listening, don't call me out, I try to only buy fabric when I've got something in mind to make.
I
try not to add up to my stash too
But there
much.
might be something that, you know, is a bit more like it's not, you don't want it to be like an impulse buy. It needs to be a really like considered thing. So you just pop it there and then you can like muse on it and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we've got room for lists and notes in there. We have more room for lists and notes towards the back as well. But then it comes to your project contents. So in here, what's great about the sewing workbook is you can track every part of your project from beginning to end. And one thing that we made sure to do when designing this was to, again, sew with intention, but not only that, celebrate your wins.
Yeah,
I think we can be so hard on ourselves. So if you were to give this to a friend, it's quite nice to say to them, celebrate your wins. So the front of it, for it to be the nitty-gritty parts of your project. So your notions, your fabrics, any pattern modifications. Most importantly, your size. I never remember. I always write what size I've made on my pattern.
Oh yeah, no, to have
but
it
then
there.
when someone asks me, what size did you make in that pattern? No idea.
Absolutely.
But I've got it all down here. And then again, this is post project. But let me just show you. I need to pick a good one. Let me just show you one of mine. I'll show you my my Luskintyre project. So I actually made this in a workshop here at G&G. And this is a Notions heavy make because it's a bag, but you can see that you get to keep your nice bright coloured swatch in there, and you can add a picture. But I was most proud of my neat strap and pocket. and figuring out the lining after a struggle, and then my new skills learnt was actually adding a zip. So yeah, a really lovely, thoughtful gift for your sewing friends.
Nice.
So we're going to hand you over to Hannah now, who's going to talk you through some dressmaking essentials, so things like scissors and pressing tools and all the lovely dressmaking presents for your dressmaking friends.
Thanks, Lorna and Belle. So I'm here with Hannah, and we've got some kind of more general dressmaking supplies here. So we've got lots of small things that are good little stocking fillers, but also kind of some bigger price options as well. So lots of things for you. So I'm Becca, and I work on the Sewing Society kits here at G&G.
And I'm Hannah, and I do all things stock related. Today I'm wearing the Puff and Pencil collared shirt, and it's made in the Fabulism cotton fabric. I just absolutely love the print.
Yeah, such a nice fabric.
I know, it feels lovely.
I've got a ready to wear wool jumper on because I'm always cold in winter, and a little Blair skirt from True Bias in our Sevenberry canvas. Okay, so we're going to start over here with our cutting items.
So, as you all probably know, an essential for dressmakers is something to actually cut your fabric with. You wouldn't get very far if you didn't have any scissors or a rotary cutter or anything. So this is a perfect gift for someone who's starting out on their journey, or even someone who is a little bit more advanced, because we do have a range of scissors varying in price. So there's a lot of different options for everyone who dress makes. Personally, my favourite is the micro serration shears. They've got this really sharp kind of serrated edge, so it's really good for cutting like lightweight fabrics, especially viscose and things. It just cuts really precisely through the fabric.
And they kind of grip the fabric side as well.
It doesn't slip around and like other scissors do.
Yeah. I really love a rotary cutter, as some people may know. So we've got a few different types of rotary cutter. This is our Prim Love one, which is in the sort of 45mm blade, but we also have a smaller one, which I really like, which is great for getting around curves, like really tight necklines or armholes or something like that. So, you know, if you know someone has got a big cutting mat or something, then a little rotary cutter is a nice thing to have. Rotary cutters are really good in particular if you're cutting sort of sweatshirting, stretchy fabrics, or like slippy fine fabrics as well. You just put the fabric down, it stays where you put it on the mat, and then you can just whiz around and cut around it.
Definitely, I use these for if I'm bag making as well, because you can get those really sharp, clean edges. If you're using a quilting rule, as well, it just glides along the fabric. Something else that I have in my dressmaking kit is a pair of little snips. So these are really handy if you're chopping off your loose threads after you've been sewing. They're really good because they're like a really sharp fine point, so you can get right up close to your stitches. They're also really good for clipping into curves, right around your necklines and things. They've got this really sharp pointy edge, so you get right up to the stitches without cutting through them. These ones are the Prim Love ones. And again, you can see they're such pretty colours. They'd be really nice for like little stockings or like a Secret Santa gifting situation.
And I like that the Prim Love ones have kind of got a longer, thinner blade, and then we've also got the classic Stork one, which have got a shorter blade, but it's kind of like a little bit more sturdy. Like you probably get through thicker fabrics, like right to the point with that one. So those ones are really good. And another favourite of ours is the applique scissors. So you might have also heard these called duckbill scissors. So they've got like a funny curved blade to them, which is really helpful if you are doing applique, but also if you're doing something like grading seams, then they're really, really useful, because basically the curved edge can kind of keep one piece of fabric out of the way while you're cutting along, and you can just trim that kind of top front edge basically. So they're great for clipping your seams, especially if you've got like thick fabrics, you know, like a thick woolly thing, then they're very helpful for that.
Yeah, these are something that I didn't know I actually needed until I never obviously used to have them before I'd had them. And then as soon as I bought them, I use them every single time I dress make. I don't think I can actually live without them anymore. So perfect for gifting.
Yeah, if you know someone that's like been sewing a little while, got the standard stuff, then like a nice thing that a nice little extra.
Definitely.
So moving on to our various pressing tools. So here we've got our tailor's pressing ham and our sleeve pressing roll. I often call this one a sausage because a ham and a sausage, but the technical name is the sleeve pressing roll, and that's what it's called. And these are, you know, really helpful for pressing kind of tricky areas where you've got a bit of shape. So the sleeve roll as you can expect, helpful for sleeves. So if you're trying to get in and press your seam in here, then it stops you pressing the other bit of fabric. You can just get right in there.
I recently used it. I put this little binding on the edge of my sleeve, and it was really handy because it's obviously a small opening. You could just slot your sleeve into, you can slot this into your sleeve and get really good pressing on it.
Yeah. So that's great for those kind of things. And then the ham is really helpful if you're doing kind of anything a bit curved. So if you need to press a dart or something like that, you know, obviously our bodies are curved, so the ham kind of helps to replicate that. Or maybe if you're doing a neckline, you know, some binding around a neckline or something like that, then if you press over the top of the ham, then it just helps to kind of recreate those curves.
They also look really nice and festive with the colours of the checks. It's very,
That's true.
very on
trend,
season.
Yeah.
So next up we wanted to show you the wooden pressing clappers. Again, it's probably something that you didn't know you needed until you've used it a few times, and then you wonder why you never got one before. So to use these, you just press your seam as you normally would, and then you give it quite a bit of steam, and then you use this to press onto the steam. If you keep holding it down, it just makes sure that seam is nice and flat. It's really good for if you're making like a coat where you've got like your outer fabric and your lining. It makes it less bulky, so you've not got your seam sticking up all out of sorts.
It just gets a really crisp press on those kind of edges. So anywhere where you're using slightly bulky fabrics and you don't want to just keep the iron on for 10 minutes to get that press, you can use your clapper. Or if you're doing like a denim and you want to do nicely pressed patch pockets or something like that, the clapper is really, really helpful. Okay, so next we've got some other really cool pressing aids. So these are our hot hemmers. So we've got a different selection of hot hemmers.
I'll demonstrate for you.
Yeah. So basically, here's some that are out of the packet. This is what they look like. They vary a little bit because we've got metric ones and imperial ones, and then we've got some shaped ones as well, like this. And essentially, they're very thin. You can see how thin they are, and you can press your fabric around it. So when you're pressing up your hem allowance, for example, it means you don't need to get out a tape measure. You can pop the hot hemmer alongside, you can press your fabric over it, they're totally heat resistant, press on top and then move along, keep pressing on top like that. So they're really helpful for pressing edges like that. And then we've also got these curved ones too. So again, if you're doing a little patch pocket that maybe had a curve on and you wanted to try and press that fabric round that curve, that can be a bit tricky to do, but the hot hemmer can be really helpful for that.
I find it useful I've actually got one in the metric and the imperial, because sometimes I flip between what kind of measurements I'm using. Sometimes I'll use inches, sometimes I'll use centimetres. So depending on how I'm feeling the day, depends on which hot hammer I'm going to use. So it's really handy actually to have a couple, so you can stick a couple on your list for Christmas, and someone might buy you both if they're very kind.
So on the subject of curves again, you might have seen the Jenerates Flex Hemmer around. So this is what it looks like when it's out the packet. You can see it is very flexible.
Quite fun to play with as well.
Yeah. So again, really helpful for pressing curves, because you can kind of pin it into position on your ironing board, and then you can press your curve around and on top of it.
It's got these really handy, I don't know if you can see, tiny little holes in it, so you can put your pins actually through those, so it really makes it secure onto your ironing board or whatever you press it onto.
And they're super flat as well, so again, you know, there's hardly any extra bulk that you're adding in there when you're pressing, and great for going round. You know, you can just manipulate it to whatever curve you want because it's got that nice wave in it.
Yeah, again, these come in centimetres and inches, so depending on your preference, then you can get one for either measurements that you work in. They're really good for little gifties, again, like Secret Santa, because they're not quite a massive price point. So it's a nice little thing to add to your little list for gifting. So carrying on with the Jenerates theme, she does quite a few little handy tools for your dressmaking projects. So these are the seam circles. Again, come in centimetres and inches, so depending on your preference, there's an option for everyone. They're really cool little wooden circles that you can see, kind of like donut shaped. There's a few different sizes, and they're really handy if you are, say, if you're drafting your own pattern, or if you're tracing off a pattern that doesn't include seam allowance. I know that a lot of the fibre move patterns, if you're using the magazine, they don't include seam allowance, so these are really good to add your seam allowance in. You basically line up the edge. You could use like a French curve or a ruler, line up the edge with the edge of your pattern, pop your pen through the middle, and it just draws that seam allowance perfectly. So you've got like centimetre, 2 centimetre, every kind of measurement that you need to add that little bit of seam allowance for the edge. And again, they come in a really cute little tin, so it's really nice for gifting. You can wrap it up and it looks really nice, nicely presented.
And then some other Jenerates little bits. And then I like that they're wooden as well. They're quite tactile, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're all actually made within the UK as well, so that's great.
So this is the seam guide. So it's got loads of little measurements on it that you can use for measuring different seams or tiny bits, and they're like pre-measured. So they've got, you know, 0.5 centimetre, 1.5 centimetres here, and 1 there, 3 here. It's got a 45-degree angle and stuff on, so that's really helpful for when you're doing just tiny quick bits of measuring. And then we've also got the Jenerates sewing ruler as well. So you've got a lovely right angle on there, and you've also kind of got little helpful 5/8, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch little measurements on them too. So another really nice like little ruler that's really useful for doing kind of all those sort of measurements.
I think all of these products as well, because they're all made of that lovely wood, they look nice in your sewing room. It's giving that like natural aesthetic, nice and calming, which is what you want your sewing room to be like. So
Yeah,
be
that's
perfect for making it look pretty.
And then we've got a couple of other little measuring things. So these are some of mine and Hannah's favourites.
Yeah, we were arguing about who wanted to talk about this because this is our all-time favourite.
Yeah, so this is only a tiny little thing, but so useful. So this is it's called the Sew and Knit Gauge, but it's a really helpful little ruler. It's got a sliding little thing on it, so you can push that up and down to measure specific little bits. You can use it for like doing circles and stuff, because again it's got somewhere you can put your pin in and move around. I think I'm sure I've seen a blog post somewhere on like many different uses for that. Maybe that's something we should do at some point.
Yeah.
So that's a really helpful ruler. I think I've got 4 of these.
Yeah, I've got quite a few of these as well.
Because again, they're, you know, not a very expensive thing, but really, really handy. So a good little stocking filler item.
Yeah, definitely. And along the same kind of idea, these are the hand gauges. So these are part of the Prim Love range. It comes in a lovely pink and also a turquoisey mint colour. These are just fun to gift. Again, at a really low price point. They're really good as well if you've got a young one in your family who's starting to sew, because it looks a bit more attractive than like a normal metal ruler would be. And it's a bit more fun and makes measuring fun, which we all know sometimes it isn't at all. So they're just really handy. And I mean, even for experienced dressmakers as well, it just brings a little bit of colour into your sewing room, which everybody wants sometimes.
Cool. And then lastly, we've got kind of 2 more unusual bits. So these would probably be good for people who've been dressmaking longer and quite experienced and have got a lot of the kit, but maybe don't have these things. So this is the Simflex expanding sewing gauge, and basically, so you have to sort of open it up and then push it back down, and you can see how it can kind of expand out, and you can get an even measurement between all of these little pointers here. So if you're doing something like making a shirt and you want to make sure your buttons are evenly spaced, because some patterns don't come with a marking, or maybe you want to put one button right at your bust and then work out where the rest are going to go, well, you can use your little Simflex gauge to do that, because it can, you know, it can spread out quite a long way, so you can get all those buttons evenly spaced, or you can just use even every other one or something like that. So that's a really handy tool to have in your sewing kits that you might not know you'd need, but it's very useful.
Before I got one of these, I was manually measuring all my buttonholes, and every time I'd work it out wrong and I'd have wonky buttonholes. So with this, you can literally just like place it on, mark them, sew buttonholes, and you'd be done in a few minutes, whereas before it could take hours for me.
Yeah, and if you want to do like measure anything else kind of like at an even distance, you know, if you're making binding or something like that, you could measure them so they were all, you know, have it all so they were all 1 inch wide, so you've got all those markers nice and easy.
And that's something as well for dressmakers who've been sewing for quite a while. They might not have even heard of this, and it's good to be like, oh, I bought you this, like it's a little surprise. And when you see it, you're like, wow, I never knew that existed. So really handy.
Yeah. And then the last thing we've got is our flexible curved ruler. So this again is slightly more unusual thing. So something that I've seen people use these for is if you're trying to get the shape of your, you know, crotch curve. Then some people use them to kind of get the shape of their crotch curve, and then they can kind of compare that to the sewing pattern, especially if you're really struggling with fitting and you can't work out why. Then it can be helpful for kind of diagnosing those sorts of problems.
Yeah, I have recently taken a deep dive into trouser making, like proper fitted trousers, and I've had to change like a lot of curves on crotches and things. So I'm definitely going to be putting this on my Christmas list, because I think this would be saving me so much time in the future when I'm making my jeans and things.
And it's got measurements built into it. So on one side it's got inches built into it, and on the other side it's got centimetres built into it. So you kind of got options if you need to do measuring. And you can also just use it if you were trying to draw a nice curved edge. Then you can just use the ruler to kind of get a nice smooth, you know, if you don't have a French curve, or if you can't get quite the right shape that you want, you can use this because it's really bendy and flexible.
If you were reshaping the hem of like a shirt or something and you wanted it curved, that'd be really quick and easy just to go straight round.
Yeah, and get that kind of perfect shape that you want. So another kind of, you know, not too expensive, nice little extra that would be good for an experienced dressmaker.
If you love dressmaking just as much as we do, we hope we've given you a bit of inspiration of things to put on your Christmas list and sneakily tell people about on the lead up to Christmas.
Or if you're just shopping for the dressmaker in your life and you've been a bit unsure about what to get them, then hopefully you feel a bit more confident now about the kind of things that would be really useful in their sewing room and the kind of things they'd appreciate. So back over to Lauren.
So I hope that you have found everything that we have shared in the gift guide inspiring, whether you are shopping for a loved one or maybe you're treating yourself. All of these things are available on the website in the blog post that corresponds with this video. And if you are visiting us in store this festive season, remember we are open until 8 p.m. every Thursday in the lead up to Christmas too. So you can come and visit the shop in person and chat to the team and see all of these tools up close. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on my next video. Happy festive sewing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.